This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, December 11th, 2018, episode 204. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. My Alexa is talking to me in the background. My computer's locking up during the show. This is just a great program. 204 weeks. I've never been more happy to be here. Joining me during this debacle, Brian with an I, Aldridge. Hello, Mr. Aldridge. You can't possibly be having a worse evening than I am. How are you?
No, my evening's been going pretty good,
Go to
actually.
hell, Brian.
So if you want to find me at Voice Computer on Twitter, my blog, biteoftech.com. And as Nick said, go to our website. And on there, we've got a little Steam notification that you can get. So if you join our Steam group, right before the show starts, you get a little pop-up for Steam.
Just send another one out.
Yeah, send out, say, take two. And it'll do a little notification right before the show starts. So maybe you happen to be at your computer on a Tuesday afternoon around this time, a little bit earlier than this time, hopefully, or a little bit late today. But if you are, you'll get a little notification, and then you can come in and join us live. You can join the chat. We do a game giveaway, and it's a lot of fun. Or if you want to join our Discord group, we have a community that hangs out there, talks throughout the week. We have a news channel that you can submit articles to. Maybe there's something you want us to talk about, put it in there. We'll review it and cover it on one of the upcoming shows. And then our audio forums, our YouTube, our Twitch, all those things are on there. So check it out. It has all the past show notes for every single show. So all that on infectionpodcast.com.
Well,
it's free.
Yeah, I mean, it's free. It doesn't get better than that. I think I fixed my problem. I haven't had any stutters. I think I've got a bad hard drive, which is perfect because I'm out of space on my getting low on space. So time to upgrade to a new spinning drive. Thanks, Western Digital. Definitely not a sponsor. I do want to thank our friend Judd, who subscribed to us when I was restarting my computer. I'm sure he did that purposely to throw me off. So thank you, Judd, for the Twitch Prime subscription. We appreciate that. That's a way that you can help support the program. All right, Brian. Game of the week, we played an oldie but a goodie. We played Left 4 Dead 2, and we went on one of these 12-person servers where they have modified the zombies' strengths and the hordes to such a level that, it was incredible. I think we were playing with 6 people, and there were like purple zombies and pink zombies, and there was a single charger that killed everybody but one person, and he was able to stay alive long enough for us to respawn. It was a mess.
Nice.
But we had a fantastic time playing Left 4 Dead 2 during our Friday game of the week. So that's what we did last Friday.
I was off doing something else. I don't even remember now what I was doing, but
you have a meeting. You have a meeting the first Friday of every month. So
I was at a meeting. So yeah, when I don't have a schedule anymore, it's just I show up to the things I'm supposed to go to.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. So
hopefully
we did that for this Friday, or for last Friday, and I'm thinking this Friday I'm actually going to be out of town. I'll be driving. I'm leaving. I'm doing my trek up north on Friday. But Overwatch has done their Christmas patch, and it's probably a good time to do some Overwatch.
Because next week we'll probably be doing Miscreated.
Ooh,
Miscreated's having their update, so this would be a good opportunity for us to do the Christmas event for Overwatch, get some of the skins that they're putting out, and just kind of check it out. We always seem to play a game right before Christmas and whenever they're doing their winter event. So yeah, this would be a good one. So we will do Overwatch. Make sure you've launched your client, battle.net, have it all updated, and then we'll be there on Friday.
Yes, and we will do that on our Friday night. So hopefully you can take some time and join us for that. All right. Where do you want to begin here, Brian? We've got lots of notes to cover. We've got some different things to talk about. Is there a spot?
Okay, so were you able to get those files copied first of all, or
I did.
Crash?
I haven't tried to play any of them yet, but they say they're here, so I'm
okay. I just wanted to make sure before.
I mean, at this point, I don't think it matters. So I'm ready when you are. If
all right. So what in chat we have Joshua NZ, which is for New Zealand, and he is the developer for XERA. And this is a game that he last week he announced on the show that they had he was doing a open beta weekend, and so he gave out a bunch of keys and people are able to go in there and play. So Nick and I had a chance to jump in and play, group up a little bit, run around the server. And so Nick got some video. I assume, which we ask him, make sure that we can actually show video. I think we can.
Here we go. Look at this. It won't play in vMix for some reason. Hold on, let me try dragging this file in. Boy, this is incredible. I mean, you'd think that you think that we've never done this before. Hey, look at it's playing. Perfect.
There we go.
I think it's moving. All right. There we go. Look at this. Okay, perfect. So, Brian, what is this game? We've talked about this in the past, but what is this game?
So it's kind of a Warzy style run, gun, loot, shoot that you can. So this is one developer who's created this. You can run around. The world objects are actually physical objects. So the loot is sitting on the ground. So you search. You can go search. I think you can search drawers if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
there are certain things you can't search, but most of the loot is sitting out in the open. And rather than zombies, which is I've said it a number of times, has pretty much been played out. He's going with more of a robot theme. So they have robots that have taken over and are making it difficult to kind of run around. One thing, Nick,
I'm trying to see if trying to find a robot scene. Boy, just having no luck here.
I was like, there was so I think that was me. But yeah, so you run around, so run, gun, loot, shoot. Pretty much there is a leveling system from that. We didn't get a ton of time to get into that, but it was leveling up. Here's a robot for you. And they're guns, melee weapons. I mean, pretty much everything works. But if you enjoy the kind of run, gun, loot, shoot style of War Z, then I think you would enjoy this game. So you can check it out. He's got it on Steam now. I did mention and talk about this when he was originally trying the Kickstarter. He's gotten a funder pretty much for the project, and so he's now releasing it on Steam. So if you're interested in that, I'm sure he could link in to his Discord, and then we'll put a link to the Steam page as well in the notes.
So let's talk about some of the features in the game. So what you're kind of seeing right now, this was our first playthrough. I think I've got a video that was me playing a little bit later on in the world. Yeah, there's actually I think there's a gun fight that goes down maybe.
And this is made under Unreal Engine.
Yes, it is.
Appreciate it.
So I think there's some type of gunfight going down here. The couple things that off the bat kind of struck me as things that we don't typically see. First of all, there was a grouping system day one. That is something that is not always prevalent in games, and some games even still struggle with it. So there was a grouping system that was implemented day one, which I really appreciated. The multiplayer itself seemed pretty easy. Your character transfers from server to server, meaning you don't always have to play on the same server. At least in my experience, I was able to hop from server 1 to server 3 to server 1 and still had all my loot was in the same location, which is something that is nice. Those things are positive. A couple things that off the bat it lacks a base building system, or some type of fortification system for groups to make bases. That's one of the things it struggles with off the bat. But I would say, Brian, for a first weekend, what is this, a closed alpha? Maybe this is considered the open alpha. I'm not sure what it is.
This was the open alpha since he was allowing sign up. So this was the open alpha weekend 1.
Perfect. So for the first open alpha, I would say the game's pretty solid. I mean, the mechanics of the game are pretty good. There's plenty of variety in weapons. There's a couple different types of robots. As you saw a little bit earlier, you may have heard if you're listening on audio, there's a type of robot that is orange, and when you kill it or do whatever to it, it explodes. Which is
Nick. I kept shooting mine from far away. Nick goes like,
well, I had a baseball bat.
Yeah, he was meleeing everything, so he's like, oh, I took damage.
Yeah,
I was laughing.
So that's a thing. The map itself is I don't know what its actual dimensions are. It's not crazy big. You can run from point A to point B pretty seamlessly. There's definitely a lot of stuff in the world. The wasteland, I was going to say, it doesn't feel like a wasteland, a barren wasteland. There's plenty of trees. There's plenty of foliage. There's a weather system. It rains in the game. I've experienced that. I don't know if there's snow, but it rains. You can see here it's pretty foggy. There is some type of weather system that's built in there. It's got a lot of the comfort features of some of the games that we like to play, Brian, and it's got a lot of that day one. Now, one criticism I would make, and these are things that are going to be worked on, and you and I talked about it, is a lot of the assets in this game, Brian, are from the Unreal shop. And you've already said that it's a one-man, one developer, but a lot of these assets are assets you may have seen in games like PUBG, which you reminded me. Developers have been very critical of PUBG for that reason, right?
Yeah, there's a point. The problem is they made an iconic image of that med kit, and they use it in one thing I can't understand how they're doing is they use those images in marketing and everything else. I mean, we saw pillows and things at the promotional that were actual Unreal assets, which you're not supposed to use them for other purposes outside of the engine. And so I don't know how legally they got away with that unless they worked out something special with that developer. But that's the frustrating thing for developers like Joshua, when you're making a game and a game like PUBG has gone and never changed. I mean, they're making millions and millions of dollars, and they never bothered to change their assets from the Unreal marketplace. It makes it really difficult for someone like him to use it because everybody's like, oh, you copied PUBG. No, PUBG bought them from the market, which they say, hey, this helps speed development up. But the problem is you're kind of shooting the smaller developers like him in the foot, because now everybody's going to think that you are copying their game when really Joshua's done nothing wrong with that. I think it's good to use this, especially because what's important to me, I mean, I do game development. What's important to me is that the mechanics are there, right? Because the graphics, the assets and things can always be swapped out. You can't, you can make a beautiful world, but if it doesn't feel right, that's the problem, is that it's very difficult to overcome that. So,
and I think the mechanics are there
in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the mechanics are there, which I think is the most important part, because you can go through and be like, all right, I'm going to upgrade these buildings. I'm going to change how they look. And you can swap those out through the whole map almost instantly. I mean, it's very easy to do a overhaul of the graphical interface, whatever assets that are in the game. It's very easy to do that. But for him, I think it's getting the support, getting people playing it, getting the money. And then at some point, once it takes off, because the thing is, he's not selling it really yet. I mean, it's in open alpha.
Yeah.
At some point, if people are like, oh, okay, really takes off, then he can be like, all right, I'm going to put out another map. And that'd be the perfect time to go through and do a whole new set of assets and do another map post-launch when you know that people are playing it.
Like you mentioned, the mechanics are there, and I didn't play it a whole lot. I probably clocked in, looking at the times of my videos here, maybe 4 hours or so over the weekend. From Friday. Well, actually, I didn't play it all on Friday. But Saturday and Sunday, I clocked probably 4 hours or so in the game, and I had a really good time playing. I played with you for a short period of time. I played with our friend Jonesy for probably about 45 minutes or so, and we had a good time playing. Now, obviously, there's not a whole lot of players. It's a closed, or this is the first open alpha, so you had to kind of.
There'll be more each time. Each times more people sign up. There'll be more people per server playing.
Yes, and we've got a sign up code on our website that you can sign up with, and it's credited to us with that. And obviously that's not a criticism of the game, but it's an observation of playing it on the first open alpha. I don't know where the clip is, but I killed somebody who was streaming the game, and our friend PH clipped it and captioned it "hacker," and I thought that was pretty funny. It was the first and only kill that I got in the game. You can see me here killing some more zombies as we had the opportunity to
robots.
Excuse me, robots. I know I got to train it out of me. Yeah, there's the clip in chat. You can watch that, and if you're watching us live. And I had a really good time playing. I really did. Yep. I enjoyed it. I felt I felt like it was somebody I was arguing with some jackass that was playing the game in the game chat. He's like, "This feels just like," he goes, "This is pretty much PUBG." And I was like, what are you talking about? And then everybody kind of ganged up on him. But I mean, the game itself, it feels like a survival game. One of the interesting mechanics you're seeing right here on the screen is you don't press E to pick things up. You hold E while a bar kind of times out until you can pick something up. What's it? Maybe a second? Maybe it's even half a second. Yeah. But just running around through the world and just spamming E on every item that, kind of highlights in your
makes you actually see what you're picking up too.
Well, makes you stop and like, do I really want to sit here and spend the second and a half or 2 seconds, picking this item up? You can see or hear there's night vision goggles that are in the game, which are super helpful at night.
There are drones that you can build.
I know.
You can fly around and
every time I got almost all the parts, someone would come by and kill me. And there's a global inventory system, which I forgot to mention. There's 2 settlements that are in the north.
And I never got there, so I didn't get to see those.
In the northwest corner and southeast corner, maybe. And there's save zones, meaning you can't be killed in that zone. And there's a global inventory, which I actually put some stuff in. So as long as the servers don't wipe between now and the next weekend of play, if and when I die, I can respawn at a safe zone, and inside that safe zone, I put a Glock and some food and water on the global trader or the global inventory system, which is something that, Brian, really we don't really see.
Mm-mm.
That's not very common. This kind of
But I think people are ready
global
for
system.
Different things though, because I mean, there were so many cut and paste versions of the same games put out in a row that we just kind of think, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. But the problem is, one game copied another. I mean, you had pretty much PUBG, the original mod version, and then you had H1Z1 copy that, and
DayZ,
then
you mean?
You had PUBG come out of that, or well, they had DayZ originally,
yep,
which then had a mod to do the Battle Royale version,
yep,
right, and then they turn around and make H1Z1, and then they make PUBG, and then now we got Fortnite, and it's like they're all just kind of variations of the exact same game. So I think people are over that whole thing of this game has to be exactly this, because we have so many games come out in a row that have almost identical mechanics. They may look different, but the mechanics are very similar. I mean, one thing you can't say, Fortnite has a lot of unique mechanics put into it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, that is unique, but it's still all based around the exact same concept. I think they've done a good job of keeping ahead of it and creating new possibilities, but they don't really have an inventory system. You pick up a few things on the fly, like nothing carries over, and you're not dragging things around in your inventory.
Yeah. Josh, who is the developer of this game, is saying there is a hostile system, which I experienced when I killed somebody, which when you enter combat, you are not protected by save zones for a period of time. He says about 8 minutes. So this allows you to essentially not grief, which is take pot shots at somebody and then run away to a safe zone so you can't get killed, which is very cool. So overall, Brian, I don't think either of us have spent enough time playing, and I just don't think we have, and we just haven't had enough opportunity. But I do think there is a lot of potential for this game. And now I'll say this: we've said this 100 times. We've seen games come and go, and we always talk about how there's potential for it. I really do think there is potential with this game. It's got solid mechanics. and it feels like a survival game from day one. It really does.
Yep. And I think that, some of the games that really struggled, they struggled in the areas that he's at right now. I mean, one thing with hide and hold out, you get in the game, and it's like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
He got the basics of a game put together, but there just wasn't the rest of it there. The part where he actually went and played with other people and did all that. This has all that. And I think now it comes down to polish and whatever additional features you may want to add, and then getting people playing it. And then at that point, starting to do custom maps or whatever he wants to do from there on. But I think the very beginning part, that whole mechanics thing that we see so many games struggle with, is all there. And that's one thing I really appreciate seeing is a game that actually is made correctly. Because we have a lot of experience with H1Z1. There were so many problems with that game.
But Brian, hold on. Let's not just be H1Z1. Let's be frank with this. There is so much shit on Steam, in the whole Steam Greenlight program. There was so much garbage in that program. Literal asset flips that were getting greenlit on the Steam store. People buying full games, putting a name on it, and getting it through the Steam Greenlight. So Brian, we've been doing this show for 3.5 years now, almost 4 years. Yeah. We have seen so much garbage, and it's refreshing to play. Similar to Realm Royale, I'll always bring it back to Realm Royale. When we jumped in Realm Royale day one, it felt good. Day one, It worked.
Which was new.
And same thing with this game. It worked day one. I didn't have my client didn't crash at all. I didn't have any crazy issues with the game. Guess what? Here's a novel concept. The doors worked. The doors opened and closed day one.
So how many times? Okay, so one thing we see, Miscreated is a good example. They made a beautiful world. They struggled with the mechanics. That is what hurt their numbers up to this point. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit later about them doing their 1.0 release, where I think they've turned around a lot of that around.
A week from now, yeah.
But they struggled so much. You can make the most beautiful world, but if the mechanics aren't there, people will not want to play it. From H1Z1, people will look past how it looks. I mean, H1Z1, if you really look at it, it's a horrible looking game. But with Just Survive, like, we enjoyed playing together and the basic mechanics of it. We enjoyed that. There was a point where it really broke down, but we were willing to look past almost anything. Yeah. There's the snow map. We were almost willing to look past anything because the basics of the mechanics worked.
Yeah.
And here, I think he's got it to where the mechanics all work. The world looks nice. I think it's all there. And he's talked about chat. He's saying he's going to be putting in skill trees, missions, traders, all that stuff. So filling it all out. But the thing is, he's just got to get to where people are playing it and start building a community up, get people playing it and seeing how it takes off. That's what it comes down to.
And it's fun to see. It's fun to see a project that is as early as it is in its phases and see how things grow and expand. I'm not going to preach here, but I would say one thing that is a genuine concern to me, as I hope it is to Joshua as well, is do not be H1Z1 in the respect of allowing the community to pivot the direction in such a drastic way all the time. Because one thing,
don't listen to Reddit and your Discord.
Well, I can just tell you one thing: the community will always hate you. They will never be happy with anything you do. So we're looking forward to playing the game. There is another open test this weekend. So if you go and sign up and get sign up for a code, you'll get one. Make sure you check your spam filter, your spam box, in case the email gets put in there. But you'll get another code for this weekend, and I would highly recommend that you jump in the game and give it a try. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with some of the ways that it plays out, and the fact that it's not in fact a zombie game, which as you said, Brian, is done. We've played it out. We've been there, done that.
I mean, there are some zombie games coming out now, but the thing is they're all ones that were starting their development started at the peak of the zombie craze.
2012, baby.
And now they're coming out of development. They've been worked on, for that period of time, and they're being released now. The sad part is the zombie crave is over. That's the issue when you start a game at the peak of whenever something is happening. By the time that it comes out, that's gone. A lot of these good developers they're trying to figure out what's the next thing. They're developing for that next thing so that hopefully they release at the right time. You can't make a game in 2 weeks and put it out immediately. It's just not how it works. It takes sometimes years to put together a game. Some of these companies, they're doing reskins of previous games. I mean, you can look at all the Far Cry. They're not remaking all the mechanics every time. So a lot of times they kind of skip what all that busy work, and they're just making new graphics, and they're redoing the map a little bit. Actually, let's talk. Do you want to talk about this new Far Cry since we were talking about?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm glad we've never pinned ourselves around a game and have done anything to like push ourselves close to a zombie game. I'm glad that we've never done anything like that.
Yep.
All right. So, how is it pronounced? Is it XERA Survival?
Yeah, I think it's XERA.
XERA. Okay. XERA Survival. Check out their website. It's XERAgame.com. There's a link. There'll be a link in the show notes to go ahead. There's a sign up link on our website. There's a sign up. You can just sign up on their public website. Check them out. Play test this weekend. Highly recommend you jump in and give it a try. Plus, here's the reality. It's free. So,
yep.
What else you got to lose?
On Saturday. I'll be playing it some on Saturday. So if people jump in Discord, we'll get some groups going together and throughout the day and kind of just play around.
Let's do that. Yeah, I may or may not be able to jump in or not on Saturday, but yeah, plan on Saturday afternoon for a couple hours, jump into the game and have a good time with it. And
that's the thing is performance. I mean, you mentioned.
Oh yeah! Wow.
It's seamless, like no hitches. We even jumped on a seesaw.
Yeah, I know that was in one of the videos. I wonder if I can find that.
So we were running around. We go into this playground, and there's like what is it? A seesaw,
it's
right?
A seesaw, yeah.
And so we jump on one side, and it moves. So Nick and I jump on each side, and we're leaping and throwing each other into the air.
I think it's around here somewhere.
Yeah, it's got to be because you run over it, and you're like, oh.
Yes, here's our.
Wait a minute.
Yes, the magical the magical seesaw in the game. The cool little things like that we appreciate. So check it out. Open weekend. The game is free. Well, it's not the game that will not be free, but the open beta is free. Go ahead, get the game, give it a try, and we will have some more next Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you want to go?
Let's talk about Far Cry. Speaking of games that are kind of pumping out stuff.
All right, Brian, keep it above board. What do we got?
Let's go ahead and play this. Let's go ahead and play the video. So this is Far Cry. This was announced at the Video Game Awards that they did this past week.
Do you want to talk over the trailer?
Or there's talking in it. Okay, I sent Nick a screenshot of the cover art, and he was like, "No, that's not
we
real.
Can't have that discussion on the show." So
I said, "Yes, it is."
All right. Well, here we go.
Just kids when the bombs dropped and the world went to shit. They said it was supposed to be the end of everything. But for us, it was just the beginning. Surviving? Nah, we were better than that. This new world had a lot to give, and we took it all. That's how we came out on top. That's how we got here. That's how we found you. Listen here, rabbits. currency left in this world is power. We're gonna take everything from you, starting with your home. And if we can't take it, we'll break it.
Into the new world. I thought that it would be glorious. I was wrong.
All right, Brian. But I'll so this is out February 15th, and before you say anything, I'll say that the last couple Far Cry games have sucked. So without getting into the conversation that I know you want to get into, why did we just watch that video, Brian?
Okay, so this game is pretty much a however many years after Far Cry 5.
Uh-huh.
So this is in the exact same location. So this is the
right?
Far Cry, in Montana. This is the Far Cry 5 map.
Really?
Just reskinned.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I don't buy that.
It is. It's the exact same map. If you look at the picture, they have that church in the background, the same one, but it's torn down a little bit because of the nuclear blast. It's the same church that was in Far Cry 5. So this is
that's high quality from Ubisoft right there.
So they've taken, so one thing I was talking about reskinning, they were able to take the exact same landscape and then just start tweaking it. So I mean, this is one way that you can go through and very quickly create new games, is if you just keep remaking the exact same map over and over again.
Yeah.
And so this will be interesting. I don't know why they didn't do this as a DLC for the last game.
Because you can't sell.
They want more money.
I mean, of course they want more money, Brian. They're a company.
But the thing is I already have the season pass. I already have the season pass, so I wouldn't have to pay for it.
Are you going to buy this game?
But this is. I don't think so. I haven't even finished Far Cry 5.
Yeah, I don't.
It was unique and interesting. I like the world up to a point, but Far Cry just gets so repetitive.
Well, that's kind of
just a point.
That's what pissed me off about the trailers. They show all this like crazy action stuff. None of that stuff happens in game. I mean, it does, but it's very far and few in between. Yes, exactly. It's cutscenes. It's not the game. Like when you watch that trailer, you're like, oh my god, this looks like a Grand Theft Auto game. Like
it's like an eighth of the total.
Yeah,
content.
It's nothing, and this is typical for Far Cry games. And then of course there's some other things going on with it. I don't know. The whole world is like pink and purple, which does not fit the trend of any Far Cry game ever. Which I don't really understand. I don't know. I guess because there's two female protagonists, the whole world has to be pink and purple. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
They seem to go with these skin themes. Like, so last game, remember that they had all the white flowers.
Yes.
Bright white flowers that were really out of place. I mean, they were just everywhere. This one, they went even more overboard, and everything's like painted pink.
Pastels.
All the flowers are pink.
Yeah.
If you look, there was a deer walking around with pink horns on. It's like, how, I don't know how that happened. Like,
yeah, how did this happen?
Now, I know that you can have like red horn, but like his nose is pink. Like it's just way overboard.
It looks like they gave the art direction to a child and was like, just paint a color. I mean, just this. When I think of world falling apart, I don't think of a hot pink and turquoise colored compounds, which is what this image is. It just seems so out of place. I don't get it. I don't foresee this game selling very, very well.
They've gotten a lot of flack for
oh yeah. I mean, it's just this
for the general.
Well, I
we
mean,
won't go into that, but
that's just the whole game just doesn't really make it. The whole game is not in series with any of the other Far Cry games. It's very odd.
I mean, they did try to do so. Now, one thing with the DLCs of the last one, I played through some of the DLCs that they did, and I know they're supposed to be kind of out there, but one thing is with those DLCs that they did, they were so repetitive, especially the space one that they did. It was, I mean, they had like voice acting through it as you went and did the exact same thing 50, 60, 70 times. It would tell the story through the process, but there was nothing unique about it. The one where it was Vietnam, that one was a little bit better because it was kind of like the old Far Cry's more. And then I played one match of the zombie one and never played that again.
Well,
so they've really kind of dropped the ball, I think, with they got so locked into how their games work, they don't leave that box anymore. And Far Cry, I mean, in the previous games, they've had those repetitive things. You capture this, capture the spot, capture the spot, capture the spot. Well, they should be beyond that. They should be moving to where it's not so repetitive. Other games have done it very well. Was that New Horizon or Horizon Zero Dawn?
Horizon Zero Dawn, yeah.
It's a very similar style to Far Cry, but you know what? It doesn't feel repetitive. It is very possible to do it.
Far Cry and Assassin's Creed have fallen into this series of repetition that, I mean, I cannot picture myself. When I say I have no interest, I mean I have no interest in playing an Assassin's Creed or a Far Cry game. No. Yeah. I mean, even Far Cry 5, which I thought looked kind of interesting, I had no desire to play it whatsoever. Those two series in particular, they just have failed to do anything with those series. They have literally been copying and pasting the same thing now for freaking 10 years. I mean, I've been playing Assassin's Creed games for 10 years. I haven't played them recently, but it's the same thing for 10 years. Yeah. And now you've seen past couple years, there was an Assassin's Creed game every year. Now Assassin's Creed, they've tapped the brakes to that. Now you get a new one like every 2 or 3 years. And I don't know how they're making a new Far Cry every year. I mean, these games are terrible.
Well, I mean, the thing is now they're just going to be reskinning. The one thing I saw is they did put in some, I mean, the one in Montana did look interesting, but once you got past that newness of how it looked and some of the mechanics they put in there, it turned into the same Far Cry. And this one doesn't even really like that. I don't see anything in here that they're saying, oh, well, this is unique and new about this one. I don't even see that. It's just here's a reskin of the previous Far Cry with a new protagonist.
Yeah, 2 new protagonists, which are very controversial in themselves. But nevertheless, we'll see. It's out soon. I mean, it's out here in like 2 months. So if you're a Far Cry fan, I guess, because there are people that are. If you're a Far Cry fan, enjoy. New game coming out here in a couple weeks.
And
after
this takes place 17 years after the last story.
Yeah,
in Hope, Montana, once again.
There you go.
So
okay,
all right. So, anyways, that was just a little thing.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it because we did spend a lot of the time last week on it, but I know it's important to talk about, Brian. That's the Epic Game Store. The Video Game Awards were last Thursday night, and we actually had a really good time watching it in Discord with our community. We had a really good time with that. So if you missed out on that, that was something that hopefully you'll be able to join us for next time. The Epic Game Store. They made an announcement last week. Put the crosshairs right on Valve and Steam, and boy, did they advertise like a banshee during the Video Game Awards. And Brian, one thing that is clear to me, and I don't remember if I said it last week, I feel like I did, maybe I didn't. It is clear to me that Epic is not interested in becoming another Origin or Uplay or even Battle.net. They are interested in becoming the marketplace and the platform in which you synonymously think of PC gaming with. Because right now, when you think PC gaming, Steam, the logo. I mean, you close your eyes and think PC gaming. Steam's logo comes to your head. I mean, you Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. That's what things are available on. It's not Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It's Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. And Epic clearly wants to change that. They are going balls to the wall with this Epic game launcher and their marketplace. It's incredible.
Well, and I've seen Firebomb and I were kind of going back and forth in Discord a little bit about it, but he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna use the Epic launcher. I don't want to do any of that because he doesn't want it to be another, Battle.net, as you said. It doesn't want to be another Origin." But the thing is, if you look back at what video streaming versus the old markets or the rentals places you could go to, Blockbuster and things like that.
Yeah, Best Buy and Blockbuster.
There was a period of time where that was how you did it.
Yeah.
Netflix came in and changed the whole industry of how it was done. Now we'll to see if they can really make this that same type of thing of totally rebranding what you consider, with where you went and got a movie. It went from Blockbuster to Netflix, and that was it. I think here, if they do it right, the one thing is developers are going to be very happy to go to them if people are willing to buy from there, because they're making so much more money. They're also getting a lot of exclusive titles, which Steam doesn't really do that. Steam doesn't try to do that. I think these guys are going to be much more aggressive with getting exclusives that are released, like Satisfactory, that was just on the screen. That was going to be released on Steam. They pulled their Steam store and they're only releasing it on Epic.
Oh, that's a good way to get Steam pissed off of you.
Mm-hmm. But what's Steam going to do? Steam is a minimal effort company. Steam does not try. I mean, if you've looked at their support, they do what the minimal effort is to have something at least kind of work. I mean, what name things that are really revolutionary that you've seen in Steam?
Recently, no, but I mean, they were, and unfortunately, they have had.
How many years ago, though?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're talking probably 12 years ago. I mean, the 2006-ish, I guess. And unfortunately, we talked about this on our show. Competition is good. Competition is good, and we are finally seeing competition for Steam. Origin and Uplay and Battle.net are not competition for Steam. They sell a very select number of games. There is nothing out there that is trying to really compete with Steam on this level like Epic is, and they're going for it. And far, I'm saying, but man, I just can't do it. That is a retarded argument. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you want to have access to these to a game at a better price, you're going to get it on the Epic store. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. And I've said this in Discord, and I'll say it again. If a game is $19.99 on Steam and $19.99 on the Epic store, I'm going to buy it on Steam every time. The only way they're going to get business and have me buy a game that's on both platforms is buy it on
It's $15 on Steam on the marketplace, and then it's $20 on Steam.
That's the only way they're going to be able to do it. And Valve is or not Valve. Epic is going to have to go in the red to start to get people on this platform. They're going to have to go in the red. They're going to have to pay
they
developers.
realize that this is the perfect time to do it, though, right now, because they're making so much money off of Fortnite. I think they realize this is the perfect time to do it when we have that disposable income to lose, because they're bringing in more than they can spend at the moment, I think. So this is the perfect time for them to do that. They can turn around, offer a very highly more I don't know, competitive. The pricing structure they're giving to the developers is night and day difference.
But it's not just about the developers too, because at the end of the day, they can give the developers whatever they want.
I think that they'll give much better support.
All that's fine and dandy.
I've gone in a circle with Steam support.
But none of it matters, Brian. The end of the day, the amount of money that you are going to put on your debit card or your PayPal account to buy X game is what matters. The support, all that stuff is, it's not that it's irrelevant, but it is. If the game is the same, if they can't beat Steam on price, they're never going to succeed. They need to be $3 to $5 cheaper on titles. I will buy games on the Epic launcher. If they're cheaper, I will buy them.
Yeah.
Because there's just no reason not to.
And I'm sure that that's what they'll be. Now, one thing too is they're going to be giving away a free game every 2 weeks.
Huge.
So what did I say? I said this months ago. I don't remember what it was when we were having the Amazon talk. I said, Amazon, if they want to compete, they need to give away games, because I thought that they were going to go for more of a trying to make a competing marketplace. There we go. Trying to make a competing marketplace. And the thing is, Amazon didn't really try to do that. Amazon doesn't push their launcher. They don't really, and maybe at some point when they start releasing more games under their developer studio, they will, but I think they're going to be too late.
Probably.
Here, they need to get people having games under there to where it has value to them. Their account has value to them, and they're willing to open it. And they're willing to maintain it. And they're not just going to put it aside because they have games in there, just like they do with Steam. They're giving away Subnautica here next week.
Big
Excellent game.
Yeah.
After that, they're giving away Super Meat Boy, whatever edition, and then they'll announce another game. So every 2 weeks, you can go on there, you can get a full game for free, start building up your library.
Yeah.
It's excellent method.
I don't, for example, don't own Subnautica. I've already got the Epic launcher installed for Fortnite.
I already own it, but I'll wait for you guys so we can play it together.
But yeah, I mean, I will be buying it on the Epic, not buying it. I'll be downloading on the Epic Store. When's it start? The 14th, I think, is the date. 14th to the 21st or something
next
like
week.
That. Yeah.
Yep.
So that'll be. Actually, I think it's Friday. That they're starting it. So they can do it. They absolutely can do it. Valve and Steam have done nothing in terms of innovation. The only reason you've seen this, probably, in my opinion, the only reason you've seen this recent revamp of the Steam friends list and whatnot is because of Discord. Because they wanted to have some people. I mean, Steam groups, Brian, when we were playing H1Z1, when TeamSpeak was still the communication source, was the thing.
Yeah.
It was the thing. Everybody.
The thing is like, we can't even
change
change the name of our Steam group anymore. Like this shows you the level of support. We can't even change. We're H1Z1 the infection the H1Z1 podcast on Steam. We cannot change the name.
Yeah.
We can't change it to Survival Podcast because they don't have a way to do it. I mean, we're used to very poor service from Steam. They do one thing and they just keep doing that. They do it consistently, but they don't try to offer you anything extra. And I think that that's going to come around to bite them eventually.
Yeah.
Now there were some complaints. I saw Firebomb mentioning something about refunds. They did say that their refund policy, they have a no questions asked refund policy. Some people said, okay, well then why are you asking for certain information to provide refunds? They want information, but they're saying they're not going to question whether or not you did it. But they turn around and updated that to where now the refund policy asks just for the order number. So they want to know the order number to where to refund the money to. And so they're not asking for any information about you or what you used to purchase the game.
You can.
But people were trying to jump on them and say, "Oh, they're not really doing refunds." They were asking you for information to verify it was you before they gave you back, refunded your game.
You can tell that they've ruffled people's feathers with this, because the amount of people that are saying, "Well, it doesn't have this. It doesn't have this feature." It's like, yeah, no shit. It's been out for a week. Really? You're going to sit here and compare it to the list of things that Steam's done? Steam has been the platform of choice for 12 to 14 years. And you're going to say that they may have to refine their refund policy? The service has been out 7 days. Get over it. And guess what? If the service sucks and the platform sucks, nobody will use it. I mean, it's really simple. Nobody will use the service. But I mean, Christ almighty. I mean, I've been seeing the posts on Reddit that people are making about how, oh, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that, doesn't have achievement or support. Really? That's why you're not going to use the Epic game launchers because of achievements?
Do you want them to create the thing is Unreal is like, well, make your own. Like, they just haven't created a set system. I know some people care about achievements, but that's just like a fake.
But hold on. But this is the point I would like to ask somebody that has a genuine care about achievements. You're telling me if they can beat on price, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If they can beat on price by 5, even 10%, you won't buy it on the store because it doesn't have achievements. And I I don't know of anybody that would spend $20 versus $15 to get achievements. And guess what?
I mean,
they probably will add
they'll
achievements.
release an API. They'll add an API and they'll allow you to do all kinds of whatever things. But that's all. That doesn't matter. I mean, that's all just fluff to me. All fluff.
Here's the thing. The service has been out a week. Let's see what happens before we sit here and crucify Epic Games. Like we do with everything. Like the reason it's the joke. The reason we can't have nice things is because of what we're seeing right now. Epic comes to finally put some competition on Steam, who, as you've said, Brian, has the shittiest customer support in history. There is not a phone number. There is not a single person you can talk to at Steam if you have an actual problem with your issue. You can send them an email and you may or may not receive a response. Brian, how many dollars do you think you've got invested in Steam? How many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars? And you can't get support. You can't get support.
So I actually wrote a whole big article on my blog about this. I almost quit Steam a number of years ago because and I was pissed about something small, but it was a concern because I had put so much money into my account and they had a mess up on their system and they wouldn't let me purchase a game at the price that, I tried to purchase that. And I went through and contacted support and I started seeing the level of support that they gave me. I was like, I'm really concerned about buying games in the future when this is the kind of support you give. Because what if something happens to my account? You're saying, oh, say goodbye to a couple $1,000s.
But that's the point. Is like Steam has got everybody is so invested in Steam and they don't care. When was the last time Steam did anything besides release this stupid card game? I mean, and do this reskin that they did a couple months ago. They have been stagnant. For anybody that says that they're a fan of, we always talk about how we use the word capitalism lightly, but we talk about competition in games, capitalism with games. Why did H1Z1 fade into existence? Because the game sucked. And other games pointed out that it was. If nothing had come out to show H1Z1 what it was, we'd still be playing it, and it would still be terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm glad now that guess what? If Epic Games doesn't end up becoming the platform of choice, I guarantee you that they have lit a fire under the ass of Valve and Steam. They have got to clean up their act now because Epic is coming guns a-blazing into the market. So will it replace Steam? Truthfully, probably not, because people are just too invested. Brian, you definitely are too invested in Steam to just drop it and move to something else.
But I'd be willing to run two.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't care how I launch it. As long as it works well and it does what I want it to do. I mean, that's the thing is I don't care where my games are. I don't like the fact that I'm tied down so much to Steam. I wish that I actually owned the games, which you don't. You have a license under Steam that can be taken away from you at any point.
That's true.
That is my frustration. I don't know if Unreal, that's one place they could make headway, is work out something with devs to where you can buy a game that you actually own on PS4. I mean, that would be groundbreaking, is if they made it to where you actually own the license to the game and you can play it on other platforms because you own the game. You could buy like an enhanced license or something. But I mean, Steam has got it so locked in to where that stuff can't happen because Steam won't play with anybody else.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to some competition in the market. I'm looking forward to Epic tightening the nut and the bolt down on Steam and saying clean up your act because somebody else is here to prove some competition. Even there's conversation going on AMD versus Intel. The new AMD Ryzen chipset. AMD has not been competitive for years. Their XFX series or their FX series was garbage compared to the Intel Core i series. Garbage, not even comparable. And now with this new Ryzen chipset that AMD's out with, they're cheaper and they're almost comparable in performance to the i5 or some i5 and i7 processors, and it's forcing Intel now to push and innovate. Like, I don't understand why people think this is a bad thing. I mean, what the hell's wrong with our industry? We've seen example after example in our realm, Intel AMD being the most recent example of how competition is good. Now I can go and get a Ryzen processor that's compared to an Intel 8700K or whatever for like $250 less or $150 less.
Yep.
I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah. Well, and originally, I mean, I remember when I first started buying AMD back in sometime in the 90s, I think, maybe late 80s, early 90s. And they were the alternative. Like everything was Intel.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few other weird kind of chips that were out at that time. But like that was the alternative, and it was so much cheaper, but the performance was good. And you know, if they wouldn't have been there, if AMD would never have been there and it would just been Intel, kind of like what Steam has been up to this point, I bet you we wouldn't have nearly as good of chips as we do now. You would probably have chips that aren't groundbreaking. They're not, you know, probably half the speed of what we're having right now if there was no competition making those guys try to release that better chip, try to release the better chip.
Absolutely. As our friend, I can't read his name because of the color of his font, Cab, says in chat, competition is great for the consumer. There you go. Absolutely. Yep. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, if nothing else comes us, hopefully Steam will clean up their act just a little bit, because they are incredibly sloppy, and frankly, they don't care about the consumer. In my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but it appears to be that way. All right.
Yep.
Try not to derail the conversation. Turns out we did. So that's the Epic game store. You can download it. It's in the Epic launcher that you used to play Fortnite and launch the Unreal Engine. It's that same program.
All right. So, mind if we talk about a rumor here really quick? This shouldn't take too long.
Sure.
But people may hear about this a little bit. So China, they formed this new review ethics committee. So they have a committee that's going to look at video games and decide, you know, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be changed, you know, whether or not a game can be sold. And so this is something that's probably not good for a lot of the games that we enjoy playing. There was a post, and PH had put this in the chat, and I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't seem to me like it's from a totally credible source yet. And this is a rumor, possible, but there's a claim that Fortnite, PUBG, Paladins have all been supposedly banned by the Chinese government. Now, I haven't seen this from, well, I guess, kind of reputable places. I don't know how reputable.
You mean the South
Kotaku
China
is.
Morning Post isn't the reputable source you're looking for?
Or even Kotaku. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't call them reliable either.
But I haven't seen it. You know, so this was a Reddit thread where someone had posted a report that was put out supposedly saying, you know, we're not going to accept PUBG, we're not going to accept H1Z1, and if this is true, this, I mean, pretty much a very large percentage of the player base for PUBG is China at the moment.
Absolutely.
Probably, I don't know how many people are in China are actually playing H1Z1 at the moment. I don't think a lot. But for some of these games, I mean, if PUBG lost their China audience, we would be seeing some real player numbers, and they would probably be under 20,000. I have a feeling, which would be, people would be kind of shocked about.
They have a verified Twitter account. I think they're actually legit. I mean, I know you haven't seen it anywhere else, but they are legit.
That's the thing, is I've only seen it from a couple. And these guys are reporting on something that happened in Reddit. So that's why I was nervous. I could have come in here and said, "Oh, this is happening," and really thrown it out there. But
interesting.
I don't know 100% that this is happening, but this is supposedly going on, and we'll see over the next week or two if it can get verified, or if China makes a move and actually makes some sort of an announcement. But this would be huge. I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind if China was out of our game market.
Yeah,
honestly,
we've made that clear. Yeah,
because there's so many things that China has negatively swayed games that we enjoy playing to do things that we didn't appreciate. I mean, PUBG is an example. They've kind of started going a different direction with skins and things, knowing that they can sell all these. We have H1Z1 who just went off the rails for China. China really sways our companies, because they see the instant money. They're like, oh, there's billions of people there. If we could just get a percentage of that audience, look at all this money we'll get. And the thing is they end up ruining their games. And when China's done with you, like, you end up with a Daybreak that has nothing.
That's a fact.
So that's my concern. I mean, I know that this would kill some games that we currently know, as far as, because they've built their budget and how many people they have hired and all the stuff that they're doing. based on China being number one. I hate hearing that, but I think that if they did go away, we'd see real game developers actually developing games for us again. Which, I mean, we do have a lot of those in the United States that are doing that, but the ones in our genre where they, especially the BR or survival genre, it seems like they totally go and quit trying to please their American audience because they figure we're not a big enough dollar amount anymore. So
Yeah, that would be detrimental to PUBG.
I don't think people understand how much of these player numbers are China. I mean, we broke it on here with H1Z1 what the player numbers actually were, and people I think were shocked.
They
at
were.
that time.
Reddit was absolutely shocked. The little analysis that you did made its way to Reddit and was the top post on the H1Z1 subreddit for hours, and people were like, "What the hell?" Like,
yeah, and nobody realized it, and I think that they would have the exact same type of numbers that we would see if we could break down and get a little more in depth with PUBG. So if China goes away for them, you know, I don't know what they would do. I don't think they would definitely have to cut back. I don't know how much money are they really spending though. I mean, if you look at the progress that PUBG makes versus how many people are playing it and how many copies they're selling, I don't think they throw as much money into it as they're near as what they're probably making.
Oh no,
So,
definitely
not. They would just probably have to spend a decent size of their budget towards actual development again, which I don't think they're doing. I think they're just trying to reap the money. So, all right.
Interesting conversation.
Now, speaking of Daybreak, we saw a tweet. Actually, I saw from Smedley a tweet, and those are all deleted. He did remove them, pretty much calling out Daybreak, saying so he had said another 70 employees. Are you kidding me? And he was pissed. He called him out, he did a number of different tweets, pretty much telling them this is because it's poorly run, poor management. You can't believe you guys would do this right before Christmas.
Yeah, his tweets were very sorry to hear about the layoffs at Daybreak. Those are good people that should still be working there 10 years from now if things were being well run. Shot at the company. And then one that I think all people, and he deleted the tweets because they were kind of inappropriate.
A little bit aggressive.
Yeah, they're aggressive and a little bit inappropriate. He doesn't work there anymore, and he's the head of Amazon Games.
Whole another competing studio.
Not the way to do it. But then he went on to say, really, really angry right now. It's December FFS. People know what that acronym stands for. And this is how you treat employees at Daybreak Games. Come on, which I would agree. I mean, you got to be.
Everything you said
me.
was accurate.
You can't. You're telling me you can't fire. You can't pay people one more month. You can't get through 2 more 15-day pay periods before laying people off before Christmas. I mean, come on. That's pretty low. I mean, I don't work at Daybreak. I'm not trying to come at the management, but literally 2 more pay periods, 2 more 15-day cycles, which is how companies do pay.
And the thing too is they're getting ready to release. Daybreak's getting ready to. They're announcing a new game in 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. So just so people understand, Daybreak still runs the H1Z1 on PS4.
Correct. Exclusively.
So that's exclusively. So that is Daybreak. All this stuff you see with Z1 and all that has nothing to do with the PS4 version of H1Z1. And of course this new company, NantG, they're doing all the PC version of H1Z1. So this is going to be a new game. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's even going to be under the ForgeLight engine. I've seen them, I think, post things about getting Unreal devs.
They have been.
So they may be releasing a game under Unreal, and this will be groundbreaking if they do that, and maybe a turnaround for the company. Because you got to realize how tied their hands are when they work with ForgeLight. I mean, they're using technology that's from 1998. I know they've released a ForgeLight 2. I mean, they've released updates to it, but it's all based on something that was built in the late 90s. So I think that they really need to, we'll see. Some people were saying and I said last week, maybe it's PlanetSide Arena. If so, if it's PlanetSide Arena built under the same engine as before, I don't expect it to go anywhere. because it's going to look the same. I mean, there's no way that they can fix how their engine looks. The PUBG or H1Z1 is pretty much as good as they can get it looking. I mean, that's them taking it to the max.
Yeah. So, I mean, moral of the story is don't lay off 70 employees 20 days
Right
before
before
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, that's just kind
And this is about
that's
30% of their company.
That's a lot. I
So
mean,
they've got about 150 people left at Daybreak.
yeah. I mean, this is a legit layoff. I mean, they laid off how many people last time? We've talked about almost
125, I think.
125. They've shed 200 people off their workforce in the last 12 months. That was more than half their staff that they've fired in the past 12 months. Yep. And Smedley in his first tweet is correct. If things were run correctly, you don't have to fire 200 people when things are running well. You fire 200 people when, and again, this is the thing. This is my concern talking about this. These are people's lives. This is, I don't want to throw these numbers around like it's not people, because it is. I mean, these are people's lives and whatnot. But you don't fire a quarter of your company's workforce when things are going well and and you're doing what you need to be doing and you're being competitive in the market and you're making good games that people want to play. You do it when you're poorly run. And I still to this day believe Daybreak would be in a totally different spot if they didn't crumble under the pressure by freaking social media and fire Smedley. If we remember what happened,
that was the beginning of the end.
Some guy swatted Smedley's family, and Smedley told the guy on Twitter, "I'm gonna F you up" or something like that, and Daybreak fired him. And since then, they have laid off 200 people. I'm not saying that's the direct cause, but I think things would be totally different if that wasn't the case. If they didn't fall to the pressure. We'll see.
Yep. And that's the thing is looking at these number of employees they have left, they're spread across. One thing is they're releasing, I don't remember if they released it this week or next week, but the new expansion for the original EverQuest, they're releasing that. So there's a team of people working on that, obviously.
Yeah.
There's a team probably for each of their titles. They don't have enough people to really have a big enough team to work on their engine anymore. They don't, I mean, they can't expect two guys to sit there and do drastic changes and keep their engine relevant. Before you could have thought, oh, maybe they're making improvements to their engine with a group of people. They're getting down to bare bones. There's no way that they're revamping and making an update to their engine.
No,
I mean, they're only tweaking it. They're only making little adjustments here and there. They are not. The only thing that could save this company, short of them switching to Unreal or something, is if they created a new engine, and there's no way with the team that they have now. That's just impossible. It would be stupid too at this point.
I would agree totally. All right, boy, we've got a lot to get into here, Brian. We're at about our halfway point here. If we want to go ahead and do a game giveaway, I'll
get it rolling. We also, I don't know if you want to play. There's an announcement for PUBG. It's a video, so I don't know if you want to play that initially.
I'll play that, but let me quickly talk about something I've been compiling over the past week. And this is, we've talked about December. We've talked about a while now how December doesn't allow. Typically in December, we don't have a lot of updates. We don't have a lot of news. December's typically our lull. It's been our experience on this show doing it over, I think this is our third year of going into a Christmas doing the show. Yeah. December, November is typically pretty low in terms of news and updates. But this year has been like no other. And I just want to go through a list. This is a couple of things that we've talked about, or a couple of games that we've talked about and updates that are happening. So yesterday, The Forest and The Forest did a big patch. We showed you the video last week with these crazy flying things and these new zombies that look crazy scary. They did that. Dead by Daylight released their DLC, which we talked about, new killer, new perks, new map. A game that we'll talk about here in a little while, Atlas, is coming out December 13th, which is what, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. DayZ.
Well, okay, we'll have something with that.
We will. But DayZ is releasing their 1.0 on Thursday. There's a chance that might get moved back. Last year, The Nightmare, which is an exclusive game on Discord, is out December 18th, as well as Miscreated 1.0, which is next week, next Tuesday, and the PUBG Snow Map is December 19th. So between now and Christmas, you can look at a list of half a dozen either new games or massive updates. We're not talking about a Miscreated update. We're talking about Miscreated 1.0. We're not talking about another Daisy Alpha, whatever the hell. We're talking about Daisy 1.0. This is we've never seen this before, and I wonder if this is going to be an ongoing trend. It's so bad that typically what I do when I travel for Christmas is I bring my laptop and I do minimal gaming. Nay, not this year. I'm packing up the whole setup and moving it up north with me for 2 weeks because there's just too much coming out. I mean, there's just too many games coming out that are in our realm. These aren't just games in general. These are all games we talk about that are in our realm. So we've got a lot of that. Now, the snow map for PUBG. There's a trailer, Brian. And, trailers are fine and dandy. But what if we were to just talk about it and watch a little bit of gameplay? So they've got their new snow map coming out, which is, 8 times the size of the current map. I don't know how well, I don't know how well this will come across. I don't know if I see where I open the map in here. The map is massive. There is a situation here which I open the map, and you can just see compared to some of the older maps. For some reason, I can't find out where it is. This map is huge. It's unlike any of the previous maps. There it is. There are so many cities condensed into this map. I mean, it's incredible. The size of this map is insane. And it's so much bigger than the current PUBG map. Not just in terms of size, but in terms of density. There are so many more POIs. I mean, there are more cities in the middle of this map than there are in the current map.
But the thing is the technology that's happened in Unreal Engine since the release of the original map has changed drastically. When they first released, I mean, they were struggling to have 100 players.
Yeah.
Epic has gone through, because of Fortnite, made major improvements to the engine to where now they could run a much bigger map with many more objects and have much more density. Level streaming has been improved. All these things have been improved. And so now they can go out and release a map and be like, okay, here you go. Here's one that's taking full advantage of whatever the engine can handle now. So I think this is good. This is them. And this is the perfect, I mean, they've been releasing multiple maps and it seems like each one is more full as you go, because the engine can now handle it. So this will be interesting to see, how many, I don't know. Do you think they'll do more maps after this? Do you think this is going to kind of peak it out?
What is this, 4 or 5? I think this is 4. Maybe.
4, I think.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because they have Miramar, they have the original one. They have the Sandhawk, and then this one. So one's a desert, one is kind of a jungle. There's this one, which is the snow map, and then the original map. So
I think they missed this one a little bit too because it doesn't hit live until December 19th. Like this should have been on. This just hit the test server the night of the Game Awards. Thursday night is when they had somebody come on and talk about it. So it just hit the test server, and it's not hitting live until the 19th, which I think is a huge mistake. This should have been on live server at the beginning of December. It's kind of like H1Z1, right? I'm watching them tweet right now. They're talking about adding Santa and whatnot into the map, into the game. Like it's December 11th. Like Christmas.
They'll release it the day before Christmas or something. Because that's what, remember they did that for some other things. Like they release content the day before. It's like, I don't really feel like playing on a holiday.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll, I don't know. It's too late now for this one, but I wish it was on there just a little bit earlier.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and, ready for me to do this game giveaway?
Yeah.
Okay. So exclamation point giveaway in chat. This will be a 60 points raffle. So if you have been in here for the last hour, then you should have no issues getting into this. I'm going to be giving away a copy of Resident Evil Revelations. This is currently $30 on Steam. Wonder if I'll have to start saying or this price on Unreal's or Epic's marketplace.
Yeah.
But yeah, so exclamation point giveaway, and we'll give away a copy of this, $30 value on this game right now, and we'll hear in probably like half an hour. We'll roll for it.
And I do want to clarify, it's bigger than their last map, not the original map. With that,
Okay, so bigger than Sandhawk.
Yes, I think that was the last one. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Atlas, which is a game from the what is their name? It is Studio Wildcard, but it's not Studio Wildcard. That's not who's actually doing it. It's like some other name. It's the Arc people essentially. And
okay, so it is Grape Shot and Studio Wildcard.
Grape Shot's
Reverb, I think, is the publisher.
So the developer is Grape Shot and the publisher is Grape Shot on Steam, and then the developer is also Instinct Games. So for some reason,
Reverb is the marketing.
Reverb is the marketing, but for some reason, that Wildcard is not listed. Studio Wildcard is not listed as the developer or the publisher, which I thought was a little odd. But it is.
Well, Jat now I think we did a post. Jat now works for. Yeah, they've moved over to Grape Shot.
Yeah, almost all of them have moved. And I don't even know if they moved over to Grape Shot, but they're moved over to this new game. They were previously dealing. Jat was the community manager for Arc.
Okay, I'm on their Discord.
Oh, okay.
And Jat is listed under Grape Shot as his employer, not Studio Wildcard.
Weird. Okay, but it is the same but it's the same company. It's very.
They've split.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it. So let's play. I guess the best thing to do is play the trailer, because describing the game, I don't think we can do it justice. This was probably the highlight of the Game Awards for me. It wasn't the new Crash Bandicoot racing game was, but in terms of what we talk about on this show, Atlas was a highlight for me. So let's watch the trailer and see. All right. So imagine, for our audio listeners, imagine Ark mixed with Black Wake on one map, and it's an MMO. Yeah. How did I do? How close am I to what this is?
Yeah, and there you'll see a lot of things that are similar between Ark, but the thing is this will take 40,000 people on one map. Isn't that right? 40,000? Is
that's
what up in front of me?
That's what their Steam says. 40,000 plus simultaneous players in the same world.
Yes. So this is a true MMO. They're not using what's the gaming technology? Spatial OS.
Spatial OS, yeah.
They are not using Spatial OS. This is developed in-house. So whatever they're doing, they're making Unreal Engine somehow without Spatial OS handle 40,000 simultaneous players. One thing is these are islands and there's a lot of ocean. That is a great way to pretty much instance, in a way, people. Yep. Because if you're using good relevance, if someone's on one island, and you're on another island, you don't care that they're on that island.
You don't need any of their information.
Yep. And so if they're doing a good enough job. Now 40,000 people still, there's definitely tech they're using in the background.
And they worked with Unreal. I think one of the press release or something said they worked.
Unreal.
You
mean with the company, with Epic? Yeah.
Yeah, they worked with Epic and the Unreal team to do some of this technology, which is the same thing with Ark. If you remember back to the early days of Ark, there were many situations in which patches were published and said, working with the Unreal people, we did this, or they worked really well with the Unreal people, and I'm sure they did the same thing with this to do some of the tech stuff. And I thought it was interesting that they didn't use Spatial OS, which seems like it'd be perfect for this.
PH is saying, I thought they worked with NVIDIA. They worked with NVIDIA on some of the Wave technology,
Okay.
but as far as the server technology, they worked with Unreal to be able to get some of this tech, getting the 40,000 players and getting some of these things built in. So, so I think that this is going to be, personally, I'm kind of hoping that this tech that they're doing, since they worked with Epic on this, I'm really hoping that they're working with them to be able to get this tech used on the engine itself. I hope that this is going to be an excuse for them to improve the engine, release things that are support a lot more players or have a better multi-server technology, something, because that would make a lot of sense of why Epic would work so closely with them. Because with Spatial OS, part of the issue is it requires a special hosting provider. So AWS, on Spatial OS, you had to use AWS, or Microsoft has theirs. There's a couple different hosting cloud providers that you can use, and you can't host your own.
No,
and so you're actually renting. You're renting from Spatial OS, and Spatial OS is billing you, but they're using AWS or something. So that makes sense if you're using something like Lumberyard. If you're using Amazon's engine, then they can say, okay, you're going to use AWS. Yeah. But Unreal in general, I don't think they'd want to release something that requires them to go through a specific company like this. They may, they've released a plugin, but I think that they could do much better to just introduce technology into the engine that allows them to do these types of things. Have game developers make their own systems, just like they're doing here, and use their own servers or whatever system they want to use, and not get locked into a pre-made system like AWS.
Yeah. I want to show this still shot in the video, and I want to talk about what we're seeing on screen here. There are horses with men in armor. There's a guy behind a cannon. He is shooting a cannonball at a four-headed dragon. Then there's this like mutant thing that's probably, I don't know what you call it, 25 feet tall, swinging a piece of a tree around, and there's horses and carriages. This game is like somebody said in chat, it's a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Like it's just a whole bunch, it's not in a bad way, but it's a whole bunch of stuff cobbled together.
And they're saying it's a 5-headed dragon.
Oh,
behind the cloud smoke.
I see that. Yes. Yeah. 5-headed monster. Yes. And like, I mean, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any theme to this. It's just like a mishmash of, there's a screenshot going around from a banner image of theirs. There's a flying boat.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, what in the hell? Like, it looks like the Quetzal. It looks like a sea turtle's arms on a sailboat. Like a big mammoth Black Wake style boat. Like, I mean, I don't know what they're doing here. This looks awesome, but I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, one thing that's unique too is they actually have NPCs in this one.
Yeah,
you didn't have. I mean, you had dinosaurs and things, but you didn't have NPCs in Ark. This one, there's people being hung, and before, whenever you would see a teaser in Ark, it was players standing around and pretending to do these cutscenes. They were not NPCs. Here, from everything I can tell, that these are all NPCs in here. I mean, just the way that they're doing things, has to be NPCs in this one.
Now,
and I can't imagine an MMO without NPCs.
Oh yeah, it's got to have NPCs.
Fallout.
Now, yeah, unless you're Bethesda and you like ruining your game and and ruin your audience. So they announced this at the Game Awards on Thursday, and they said it'll be out December 13th, a week from today, last Thursday. And That's great, but they've already delayed it now to the 19th.
I thought this was a joke when I first saw this. I was like, wait, because they said it so casually when they announced it, and they're like, oh, and we're pushing it out another 6 days. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like that was just like at the end of the sentence, you're saying, oh, and we're pushing this out 6 days.
Yeah,
You guys haven't even released yet, and you're delaying, which
not a good
they
sign.
are very well known for doing. I remember
What was that one
not
arc?
this
What was that one arc update you waited forever for?
Aberration, I think.
I don't know which one it was. It was for like
Aberration. They were like a month and a half behind it, if I remember correctly.
Now, in their defense, and call me Arc fanboy Nick or whatever, they've delayed, but they've always delivered. And I think that's important to understand.
Yeah.
There are games that delay and don't deliver, and that's when people get pissed. But then there's games that delay and deliver, and the delay is worth it. Red Dead Redemption 2, great example.
Yep.
Delayed, turns out they delivered. If they delayed and didn't deliver, people would have been freaking livid. So, with that being said, they've delayed by 6 days, and it'll be out next Wednesday, the 19th. So look forward to this. I am super excited for it.
Yeah,
it looks
this will
awesome.
be very unique.
It's super unique. You're like
It'll
nothing
be interesting
else.
to see how we as a group can find each other, since it's 40,000 players. This map's going to be gigantic.
No idea.
How do you group up with your friends?
I don't know. I've reached out to every contact we have at the old ARC team, and they are so busy. I really wanted to get somebody on for an interview. I just don't think we'll be able to do it before the release. But hopefully after it's released, we'll get Jat on the program and talk about this game and how this whole thing spawned, because this almost, Brian, seems like a technology test more than anything else. And it wouldn't surprise me, frankly, if Unreal gave them a lot of money and said, let's do a technology test. Like,
Because that's
what this is.
I
That's
think
what this
where you're
looks like.
going with this is one thing that they have done. If you look at games before Arc that were done under Unreal, they weren't up to the levels of what Arc was doing. Arc always pushed the genre. They pushed the limits on. I mean, you remember when Arc was pushing the limits of Unreal, and we were getting 10 frames per second and stuttering. Like, they were always pushing it to the very limit and then optimizing, or then the engine would put out updates to make it better. And now you can run Arc on all kinds of machines. No stutters. It runs perfectly. They've done a good job. And I think they looked at them and viewed, okay, well, here's guys that actually put out regular updates. They were consistent. They're very good at what they do. These would be the perfect guys to do it. Because I don't think there's many other companies that make games under Unreal right now that are as consistent as Arc has been, and would put out a consistent product in the end, and have actually delivered on time relevant, pretty close to on time. I mean, a month in game terms, isn't the end of the world. So, I mean, it feels like it at the time, but it's really not that big of a delay for the amount of work that they're doing to release all those maps and content that they did.
Yeah. It was funny when they were showing the trailer during the Game Awards, I saw a couple jokes in the chat like, oh, 0 FPS game. Like, because there's just so much
I really don't think so. I think they figured it out.
I know they have, but it's funny to see like the way that Arc ran like garbage for such a long time. And now they're like, we're going to put 40,000 players. And I say in a map, they're not all going to be in the same area, but 40,000 players on a map, and there's going to be flying boats, and there's going to be water spouts shucking up your ship, and there's dragons and cannonballs and horses and goblins and monsters. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
It'll be interesting
I don't know,
because
man.
have we really seen since like WoW originally, how many MMOs have really pushed the limits and done something unique?
Was EverQuest before or after WoW?
Oh, wait, it was before.
Okay.
EverQuest was the original.
Okay. So WoW. Okay. Yeah. Before my time.
Yep. Yeah. I think you were born at the time. I think that I started playing EverQuest maybe.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like other, not to this scale, but nothing like WoW. I mean, there were other
I
MMOs.
can't think of it.
Like
there are other MMOs. but
RuneScape was a I don't know if you call that an MMO. I guess it was an MMO.
But was it groundbreaking compared to like what
No.
WoW did?
No. It wasn't groundbreaking, but I'm thinking other MMO. There hasn't been a lot, realistically. Really big popular MMOs. RuneScape's one of them that jumps off the page that was popular. But other than that, no, I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, so I think that this is something truly unique. It'll allow combat unlike I think you've really seen in an MMO.
Yeah.
I mean, just from what I've seen, this attacking actual bases, because you see them shooting cannonballs at giant bases. I mean, this will be interesting to see because usually in an MMO, everything is so static to be able to handle that many people. Everything is very static and you're not really making real changes to the world. When you go and farm, let's say that you're going gathering metal, there will be nodes that'll be placed, in static places around the map that will disappear, but the world isn't really changing. Here, I would assume something is like if you're attacking, there's a wall break. That'll be what's interesting for me to see because that's the stuff that requires a lot of replication. The fact that a whole ship is sinking, and then you can go down and
Underwater is huge.
Underwater and get stuff from that.
This scene is
it's just
insane.
this is a whole nother. There's so much stuff happening in the scene that this is a huge advancement in technology.
There's like probably 3 or 4 ships, massive battleships on screen here. There's at least 3 typhoons, or excuse me, 3 water spouts. Behind the water spout, there appears to be some type of big, octopus thing with horns, and then there's like a fireball, some like orange or a blue energy ball sparking. I mean, I don't even know.
I mean, it's just intense. That's the thing is there's so much going on.
Like, good Lord.
It takes so much to do that's no MMO before this has pushed the limits that much.
I'm super pumped for this. Even though it is survival. I mean, they call it Atlas, the ultimate survival MMO of unprecedented scale. So, I guess it does fit into our
see. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what it is.
Yeah, I actually, because of this game, I haven't talked about this at all yet on the show. And of course, Brian's got to one-up me. I went out and bought a 1060 in preparation for this. No. Yeah, I bought a 1060 in preparation 1060? For this.
Not 1070?
No, maybe it was a 1070.
Okay.
1060 or 1070, I don't remember. Ordered one of them in preparation for this because I needed 1070. Thank you. Got a 1070 in preparation for this, and I'm really looking forward to getting my GTX 1070, Brian.
And I'm looking forward to getting my GTX 1080.
To say I hate you would be an understatement. It is not often, Brian.
Nick was like, "Oh, I got this video card here." I was like, "Oh, I'll go check it out."
What video card do you have right now, Brian?
970.
Guess what I have, Brian?
960 probably.
I have a 960. You are the biggest scumbag in the world. But I mean, realistically, the game like this is going to need a legit GPU. Plus, I think like you, Brian, I've experienced in some of these other games, not the most ideal frame rates. It plays, yes, but we'd like to get a little bit more.
I think we're right on the cusp of failure. Like we're right there where right now everything kind of runs. But I think that with these new games that are coming out in the tech and everything, I think we're going to start hitting to where, oh man, my it's just not keeping up. So that's why I was like, now's the time. The Bitcoin market has tanked. People are now. One thing I did when I bought mine is I'm getting a used one, but I found one that was not used for.
I hope it's DOA, Brian. I hope that thing comes and it's the fans have been spun off the card.
No, there was very close pictures of it, and they said they did not use it for Bitcoin mining, which was my concern.
Well, I bought my 1070 brand new directly from EVGA, so suck it.
All right,
and on to the next story.
See.
Yes,
mine still is under warranty though, so if I do have an issue,
I bought mine directly from EVGA, so I don't have any problems whatsoever. So,
Yep.
All right, it's Let's see. We got probably about 20 or 5 or so minutes left, and
we need to talk a little bit about Miscreated as well.
Yes,
they just have a couple. So there's a video. Actually, there's a video that's a couple minutes long. So I don't know if you want to play that first one.
Okay, give me a minute here.
And this is overview. As we said, next week here in
it's a long one.
Not very many days. They're going to be coming out with a new 1.0 of Miscreated, which we've been teasing all this different content that they've been talking about. And so here's an overview that shows a little more, because all these clips that we've been showing are what, 5 seconds to 10 seconds
Yes.
max.
Yeah.
Here's one that actually shows the world in a little bit more depth.
Hello, and welcome to Miscreated. My name is Marco, and I am the lead level designer, and in this video, I'll be showing you some of the new upcoming features for our 1.0 release. Miscreated is a post-apocalyptic online survival game based in the near future where humanity has been brought to its knees after the final war. As a remaining survivor, you hang on what remains of this unforgiving world, ravaged by the mutant plague which was miscreated in the fallout. Survive, loot, cooperate, build, dominate. In this online sandbox experience, the choice is yours. One of the new features we're going to be showing off today is our dynamic world system, which allows us to inhabit more interactive objects within the world for our players to toy with. As part of this system, we've introduced powered houses. Any residential house in the world can be powered with a generator, which includes some benefits. I've already collected a portable generator, which I can now craft into a working placeable generator. With the placeable generator now crafted, we can now provide power for our building. Let's place it close to the power box and connect the power. Let's flip the generator on and provide power for our home. Alright, now that the house is receiving power, we can go inside and see what we can interact with. We also now have working doors as part of the dynamic world system. We also adjusted the way the AI navigation mesh works to auto-generate when a new object has been placed into the world. This includes doors open-close states, as well as player-made structures. The AI will be aware of these objects and navigate around them accordingly. So as you can see in this house, we have an electric stove which we can now interact with. As part of the 1.0 release, food item spawns will be dramatically decreased, which will mean that players will be required to gather food from hunting or cultivating food using the new farming system. Now we need something to cook. I have a chicken outside which I'm now going to slaughter for my lunch. Consuming raw food will have negative effects. It is now crucial you cook your food before consuming it. Okay, now that we have our chicken in the oven, we can check the status of the cooking process by interacting with the oven. As you can see, it's still raw. We'll have to wait a bit longer before it's safe to consume. Hopefully I don't overcook and burn this one.
Got some 7 days to die graphics in there in the oven.
It's not going to be a real chicken dinner without something on the side. Let's go outside and check my potato crops. Here I've already planted some potato seeds in the crop planter. These planters can be found throughout the world, so it's not a requirement to build them for your base. However, if you choose to, you can craft your own planters for your crafted base. Just like the electric stove, I can check on the status of my crop. As you can see with the status message, my crops require more water. I can either wait for it to rain, and the planter will retain water naturally, or I can manually add water to the planter myself. For this demonstration, I'm going to add the water manually. Let's go back inside and check on the chicken. Seems like the chicken just needs a little more time in the oven. In the meantime, let's make it a bit more cozy in here and turn on some lights. Because the house is now powered, there are other working powered objects I can now interact with. That's much better. For this demonstration, I'm going to skip ahead and show you my final meal. My potatoes are now fully grown and are ready for harvest. Lovely. With the harvested potatoes, I can choose to eat them or replant them to grow some more. You can also use rotten food as fertilizer for faster growth. Now let's go and retrieve the chicken from the oven. The chicken is also cooked perfectly. Now that's what I call a winner-winner chicken dinner. I hope you enjoyed this short demonstration of our new dynamic world features. This is just some of the new things you'll be able to interact with. There will be more when 1.0 debuts. This is only one example of many ways you'll be able to survive in Miscreated. You can follow all of our progress and updates on our social media channels. On behalf of the team, I would like to thank you for tuning in, and I look forward.
Okay, I don't want to rush him out of the video, but we're so tight on time. So that was Marco. Who did we speak to? We talked to Chris.
We've talked to him and Chris.
Did we interview Marco on the show?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I think it might have been an off-air interview though. With
you interviewed Marco by yourself.
I interviewed him and then we played it on the show. That's
Yes.
why you're.
Yes, we interviewed Chris, but yes. So Marco's the one doing that video. Okay, this is so the king of guessing things. Brian Aldridge was right many months ago when he said the whole thing. They're going to fortify houses. That's going to be the new thing.
Yep.
And it's been talked about, but here's the first video of them actually like showing and explaining in detail. So,
yep.
Congratulations, Brian. You hit the nail on the head.
So, and the thing that I really see that makes more sense with this whole system too is they're going to be letting people host their own servers.
Yeah.
It was very difficult to really do anything when all the servers were pretty much official servers because everything was PvP all the time. People just destroy all your stuff. You couldn't really build a base and do your own thing. I think now that people will be able to have private servers, you'll see people more kind of creating their own place and putting in a garden and doing all these things, putting power to it and kind of doing the maybe the more arc type of things that you see people doing because they'll have the freedom to. I mean, if they want to run their own server and do this with people that are like-minded, they can do that. So I think it'll work out much better in the end. And I think that it'll really cater to that private server type of a atmosphere. And people, because the thing is, we've never really gone and dove into the world that deeply because anytime we start going around, like we get shot or we start building something, it gets destroyed overnight. Like we've never really taken it to the next level of this game because it's just, there's no carryover. You're either playing it all the time. Yeah, I mean, there's no taking a break for a couple days because everything you have will be gone.
We talk about barrier to entry in games, and like it or hate it, barrier to entry is a huge deal when people are trying to play. And Miscreated has always had in my opinion, an unobtainable barrier to entry. You've got to invest so much upfront time to get anything that it's just not my cup of tea. For some groups and some people, it may be. But for the more casual player, like what we are, we talk about so many games, we play so many different games. We're casual in all of them. We can't dedicate 100% to one, or else we would never play anything else. So in that regard, it's just too much. This now is finally looking like a more casual survival game, and this now looks like it's becoming more and more like the survival game that we were hoping it would be 2.5 years ago after the H1Z1, where we like Miscreated is a survival game. It's got the closest thing to H1Z1. Let's see what they can do. And this 1.0 is a dramatic. They're doing what Conan Exiles did on their 1.0. They're literally changing the game completely. Yep. And so I think that this will be unique, and it'll be interesting to see how people take to it. But I think it'll have much more of an audience that are like, I'm creating my own little thing, and then we're going to go explore. We're going to do these different things together as a group. Yeah. It just was always, everything came back to PvP whenever we got on one, and it was all right. I got wiped. We're all separated now. We don't have any stuff because you can't build a base to store anything, because it would just be destroyed the next day. Like you could never get that exact feeling that we got from Just Survive because we never could get storage, and you couldn't really get dominance on a server, which I mean is good to a point, but you want to get to where, all right, we get in a gunfight, I can run and go get another gun and we'll continue this fight and make it drawn out. Like you couldn't do that because a couple of deaths and everybody's done. So so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, this will be coming out here pretty soon. They do have a couple items. I don't know if you want to show these really quick. Yeah, let's go through those. I figured you might appreciate. So here's something having to do with weather. They did tease this a while ago, but they did their acid rain effect, and I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I agree. So this is an acid rain effect.
They also have a new weapon. This is the R90, which is it uses 5.7 by 28, 700 bullets per minute that it does. So it's a rapid fire and decent little damage gun. This is another unique gun. It looks like the clip loads from the back. Is that what it does? I don't know. It's
can't
weird.
tell.
I have no clue. I can't even tell.
Freaking why are they uploading still videos to YouTube? Like
I don't know.
such extremes. Like
Well, what's funny is you see some of them are like 500 pixels or it's 500 resolution
Ugh.
because they've uploaded it from Instagram, I think.
good lord.
So okay, so the mag is on the top of the gun. There we go. Yeah, because it didn't go into the bottom. So you can build this campfire, cook the meat on it.
Yep.
So you just have to get a couple parts for it.
I mean, what a pain in the ass to show.
And then there's another location.
Oh yeah,
which
my
is
favorite.
a
Yeah, this is
hospital.
yeah, great. Solid resolution. Yes, saw it on Snapchat first. Come on. All right. Well,
So,
there
yeah,
we
so this is
go.
another-
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to 1.0. This is out next Tuesday, 7 days from now.
Yep.
So, and if we don't talk to them before next week's show, we'll talk with them shortly after the release. We know they're interested. It's just about getting everything.
I've got confirmation from 2 of the devs.
Cool.
For a yes, they definitely want to do it, and we're just waiting to try to get a third one.
Okay. Well, it probably won't be a bad idea to do a post 1.0 kind of post-mortem on how they thought everything went. So we will talk to them here in the next couple of weeks. We're looking forward to that.
Very good. Do you have a preference? One thing I guess we could mention really quick, CSGO is free to play.
Yes, totally free to play, and it's got a BR mode.
And they've added a BR mode called Danger Zone. So
Can't play the song.
you drop into
copyright
Black
strike.
Site. Yeah. Drop into Black Site. It's a 18-player VR. And yes, so this is unique and new for them. So if you didn't have CSGO before, you should be able to go on there and download it. And you can play CSGO or you can do this new mode. So I was kind of surprised, didn't expect that. Another thing is ROE. They're actually releasing a new game mode as well.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you want to play. There's a video for that, which teases a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't
let's see.
And there's no talking really.
Okay.
But there is, I think, some music.
All right, what are we looking at here?
All right, so this is their new game mode, and it's looks like you have to get to a chest, like you're all fighting. They don't really explain it.
Ah, typical of Tencent.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly, but it looks like you're going for that chest that's in the building. Like they're giving you one point that you're trying to reach. So they're not doing the extraction. And this will be at night. You can see here they were teasing about night mode. But yeah, so I have no clue other than it's called conflict. So whatever that means to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is
The first one they're called takeoff, and then this one is conflict. And then I think there's and then I think there's going to be a third one on like the 14th, if I remember correctly. So I think they're going to have a third game mode as well before Christmas.
there you go.
So keep an eye out for that. If you play ROE, it is free to play.
Yes, ROE stuff. Our friends over at Funcom are releasing a new Conan game, Brian, and it is it's called Conan Unconquered, and it's a strategy game. It's kind of like a Civ that they're releasing, like a Civ. What's Sid Meier's Civilizations
Yep.
games, and they're working with a couple of people with the Command and Conquer team, which of course predates Civilization games, but Command and Conquer were some of the first of those top-down RTS real-time strategy games, and they're working on one. So it's called Conan Unconquered, and it's going to be released sometime in Q2 of 2019. So we don't really have a whole lot of detail on it, but their website is, or their Steam page is live, and you can go check it out. It's called Conan Unconquered, and it's a strategy game. Looks like what you'd expect with a RTS game. Halo Wars, Civ, whatever kind, however you want to think of it. Command and Conquer. That's what they're doing. So interesting to see them moving from Conan Exiles to this and
expanding their IP. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have that IP. They might as well take full advantage of it for all the different people that maybe people who don't enjoy survival games.
Yeah, but the Conan lore,
enjoy Conan.
Yeah, exactly. Because Conan has got a huge amount of lore behind it, which is something we talked about with Jens Erik when we interviewed him the first time. Was talking about how they have so much to work with the game because of the immense amount of lore. So that's Conan Exiles or not Conan Exiles. That's from the Conan Exiles team and the guys over at Funcom.
Do you want to just run through? I mean, do you have anything specific you want to cover?
No. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here that's super relevant for next week. I do quickly want to show. We talk about roadmaps from time to time, and our friends over at Dead by Daylight, who I have been playing that game a lot. I mean, I've been playing it all the time. It's got me hooked.
It's been your main game.
I don't know what. I've never really had this happen before, where I've been drawn to a game that is so. The game itself is not. It's repetitive, yes, in what you do, to how the game plays out, but the end goal is repetitive in nature. But the game itself is not repetitive. But
there's enough variation of how you do it.
But it's just so weird how I'm drawn back to it constantly. So it is weird. I can't explain it. But here's their roadmap, and they have announced this, and they're full steam ahead. They're working on it. They just finished.
They very consistently released new killers. I mean, they've done a very good job of continually adding content.
And you can see with this, we're in the winter right now. This chapter 10, but they just released it, and they're all the same. It's a new killer, a new survivor, a new map, and then they balance the game. They do this every season essentially. They do this.
So 4 times a year.
4 times a year. Yeah.
So every year, well, up to this point, they had 4 killers, 4 survivors, 4 maps. I mean, that's
no. But here's the thing
good.
too. It's not the way that Dead by Daylight plays out is the skills that you've got and the skills that the killers and the survivors have. Each killer's got specific skills that are their skills. Once you with the survivors, it's the same way. When you hit level 40 on the survivor, you can get that skill as a teachable skill, meaning that with other survivors,
create a custom character, pretty much.
No, you don't create a custom character, but you can play as another survivor and unlock the skill that is for.
No, I'm saying though, you can pretty much create. You can make one survivor have whatever skills from other players,
essentially,
other players that you want to.
Yes, it gives you that flexibility. So it's not like when they add a new killer, new skills. It's just for one character. You play that, you level that character up to level 40. You can now teach those skills to other characters, other survivors, I should say. So it's not. Yeah. There's a lot more in there. It's not just one survivor, one killer. There's sets of perks, and you're done. There is a lot. Yeah. You can mix and match and piece things together. So that's I thought that was kind of neat. And they're doing dedicated servers, which they announced at the Game Awards. They released a trailer for the new killer and summer of 2019.
How do you think that's going to work?
I don't know how it's going to work, but it needs to be done in the spring of 2019 because their peer-to-peer server system is garbage. And
okay, so it'll just make it more consistent.
Well, the problem is that it's a peer-to-peer. It's not peer-to-peer. The killer's the host. So when the killers,
if something happens, if they have a bad connection,
yeah, when the killer's playing on McDonald's Wi-Fi, and you've got 400 milliseconds ping to them, you're rubber banding all over the place. You can't jump through windows. You can't interact with objects. It's a freaking nightmare. So they absolutely need dedicated servers. It kind of sucks that it's going to take till the summer of 2019, but it will be there, which is good.
Well, let's just list what we didn't cover.
Yeah.
We'll have them in the show notes. Maybe next week we'll cover some more of it.
Yeah.
As well. The Walking Dead episode 3. I did put the video for that, for the announcement for the Walking Dead episode 3. This is, of course, the Walking Dead, the previously Telltale series. They did put out their new trailer for one of the ones coming out. Also, we have the Black Death. There's actually, I put an image for their roadmap just so people can kind of see what's going to be coming up in the next couple of months. Rust has put on electricity. I don't know. You could show that roadmap. It's just one single image.
Yep.
But just showing some of the stuff that they're going to be doing in the coming months. And I have been really impressed. Black Death, they've been putting. I've got to go back and like play it again because they're adding horses. They are adding consistent. They just released like a year too early.
But
I think.
But Atlas will have all of these features and more
On launch, yeah. And so at Rust, they have their electricity updates. So we'll talk about that a little more next week. There's also a video.
We did the
Scum.
We did electricity last
Well,
week.
they teased it, but they've actually released it, so it shows more in depth of what's going on. Scum put out an update. Some of the things we can't show on our show without getting tagged. Survive the Nights, they put out an update, and mainly, so I think there are things for reinforcing buildings. We had teased it a little bit before, but they've actually put that out now to where you can fortify buildings. It's a fortification update. Rocket League, they have their new season. So if you're playing Rocket League, they have their new season pass out, so you can start that with a new season. The Forest put out their 1.10 version, which we'll have to play that in the next couple of weeks. I know we'll be doing Miscreated next week. We'll see what else comes out. Maybe we'll be playing Atlas. Sorry, I called it Arc. Atlas. But we'll see how things go. Maybe we'll do the Forest instead. Arc put out just a small little fix for servers. And Realm Royale put out an update, their 13th update. And then I have a lot of games that are upcoming games that we can kind of throw in the next couple of weeks. I put a list of tons of games that are going to be coming out that we have just trailers for. World War Z.
These are different from the games that are coming out just in the next couple weeks. You're talking about games.
These ones are farther out.
But these are, I mean, these are interesting games. And we had a point, Brian, a couple months ago, probably about a year ago, we were like, boy, we are really, like, there really wasn't anything new coming out. And we literally had a conversation like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to talk about? Arc patches for the show every week? There was a lack of new content.
No games were being announced. No games were being released.
And now
there was like,
we can't.
And now, I mean, look, I've got a list here of just, these are titles that just happened to have announced in the last couple of weeks.
We need to go to 3 hours, Brian.
I know. That's the problem. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was like, we almost, with how it is, like, we don't make it through
any of the notes.
We barely make it to half of the notes. But I'm not going to do a 4-hour show. I'm sorry.
Why do you have to go to 4? Like, why don't we do 3?
I'd rather do a Friday night, do another.
No, you can't split it up. What do we need to do? Start an hour earlier? What do we need to do? We got to get, Brian, we got to do 3 hours.
Yes, I don't think that's a good idea.
Why?
This is a long podcast.
But
already.
you do all, but the work's already been done. You've already done all the work. We've already compiled.
We're always just like, oh man, we're out of time. I've got all these other topics we didn't talk about.
So I'm saying, you keep saying, well, we'll get to this. We're never going to get to any of this. What are you, drunk?
Yeah, because there'll be something new next week.
Yeah, then next week, Daybreak will fire 100 more people. I mean, I don't know. We need to sign the petition, the Infection Podcast petition, to convince Brian Aldridge to do 4 hours, 3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah, you always, that's where it's secretly going to go. Be 4 hours. Then we'll do like a 12-hour podcast eventually.
Every week. Yeah. Well, we'll get to some of it eventually.
All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about on here?
Yes, but it ain't happening. Next week, we just keep pawning that off. Next week.
Listen, is there any of those videos you want to play?
No.
We can do a teaser.
No, I think we're good. I think we covered the relevance of it, and this is why it's so important. If you're interested in a niche game, and I know we didn't get to everything, Daisy's got some stuff that we want to talk about, which is not going to get to. There are notes and all of the show notes. I mean, I'll pull them up here for our video audience. All of the notes are right here. You can see all of the thing. Oh, tease and tip of the week. All the notes are on there, and I mean, it's a lot of updates. It's lots of links. It's lots of updates. So, and they're all on our website, infectionpodcast.com.
Yep.
All right.
And yeah, if there's anything, as he said, go to our Discord, post in news if there's something you think we should be covering that we're missing.
Maybe we need to stop promoting that concept. Like, do not post, please. We do appreciate people that post stuff in there because there's just, again, so many games, so many updates, so many things that just fall off our plate that we need some people that are our second or third eyes looking at stuff.
Yep.
All right.
Saves me a lot of time.
Yeah, and it does. It seriously does. All right, let's talk about some games and who's playing them real quick. We got a couple ones here. H1Z1, it's hurting hard. 960 people currently playing. 2,392 is your 24-hour peak. Your 7-day peak, 3,619. Arc, soon we'll have to change. We'll have to do Arc and Atlas. 33,666 and 33. 50,314 is the 24-hour peak with a 7-day peak of 64,763. I've been bringing you updates on 7 Days to Die since they did their updates. Numbers are starting to dwindle out a little bit. Currently playing 10,429. The 24-hour peak, 13,481 with a 7-day peak of 20,454. And PUBG currently playing 19,232. The 24-hour peak, 807,682. And the 7-day peak, 912,315. Look at that. Look at that difference. Almost a 900,000 player difference.
A lot of people in China.
I mean, dude, it's nuts. You're talking about it.
Imagine that 900,000 people log in from one country and hit their servers all at the same time.
Imagine if these rumors that you're talking about with this China directory board. By the way, for people that don't know, maybe China is a communist rule. Like, the government just decides what's going to happen. So the government's like, we don't like your game. The game is gone, and it is illegal to play. It's illegal to
people can sign a petition, but it's not going to.
It doesn't do anything.
It's not going to go anywhere.
So this is a serious threat. This isn't like the U.S. where it's like, oh, a GameStop is going to ban certain games. Like, who cares? Like, buy it from the Xbox store, download it on Steam. Like, when they say no PUBG, there will be no PUBG. Like, their firewalls will block. The game will literally cease to exist in that country. So that PUBG's got. And
can you imagine what would happen to PUBG if the current players right now, the people that are playing it at this moment, if that was like the average?
Fortnite number one.
Yep. I mean, Fortnite. I mean, they've got to be. I mean, Fortnite relies on China some. It's not like they have a lot of U.S. players as well.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, and by the way, I did want to mention our friend, speaking of PUBG, our friend Ross is ranked 61 overall in PUBG duos.
In the U.S.?
In the, I don't know. I'm not sure. But he's 61 overall in duos on the PUBG leaderboards. So
nice.
Our hats off to you, Ross. Good, keep up the good work. He's one of the 19,232 people playing the game right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he's part of the almost million Chinese guys, if he's comparing against them, that's incredible.
And this is interesting. Josh is saying that Discord is banned in China. I've had to set up a QQ group and use translators to communicate with the Chinese community for his game, XERA. Wow. I installed QQ once before the show. Not a good idea.
No, don't do that again. We almost didn't have a show that day.
Changed my system language. Oh, man, it was a mess. Good Lord. All right.
I love QQ.
Yeah. All right, Brian.
All right.
What's next?
All right, let's go and roll into the tip of the week, where either I'll talk a maybe a general gaming tip or for a specific game. And since we were playing a lot of 7 Days to Die, that's what it's going to be about. So this is tip of the week. All right. So in 7 Days to Die, one thing that they've done in this latest Alpha 17 is simplified how the armor works. That you'll notice that the only thing that it affects now is the damage that you take when you're wearing a helmet, chest plate, gloves, leg armor, or boots. Those are the only things that will affect that armor rating. Quality levels mean a lot less now. Quality levels before, and you even notice this with tools and things like that. You would try to get that higher quality level so that you would have a tool that did more damage or gathered more material. Now the quality level doesn't do anything except for affect the durability of the item, and we really notice this with, for instance, the stone axe, where before you could just get a higher and higher level one. Now it just makes it last longer. It doesn't actually make it gather more. The other things that it will affect is the armor will affect your mobility. So if you have a heavier or thicker armor, that will make it cost more stamina as you move around the world. So there is a downside to having the heaviest armor or having the thickest armor. You will have to use more stamina just to move around. One thing that you can finally do is add padding and plating to armor. If you do that, you can get your steel armor up to a 16 armor rating, and you can get military armor up to a 13 armor rating. So those are pretty much the ways that you can reduce damage, but they have tried to simplify it quite a bit. And hopefully if you go in there, you'll find it a little easier and make more sense getting the different armors. So that is tip of the week.
All right. Thank you very much for that one, Brian. As always,
all right,
a favorite feature of the program, yes.
Yes. Are we ready to roll for this?
Yes. What are we giving away? I already know what we're giving away, but who are we giving it away to?
All right. So this is going to be for Resident Evil Revelations.
Revenant Evil.
Revenant Evil. All right. So there's a new process here. So I closed it, and we will draw. And it's Judd. Congratulations, Judd, a friend of the show.
Yes.
Longtime listener.
Congratulations, Judd.
Yes. So I will send you a message, and I'll send you the key for this. So hopefully you enjoy it. And if you ever get a game from this and you play it and you're like, hey, that was a great game, you should let us know. Just give us a review of what you thought of it. If it was a good game, if it sucked, then that way we can know. Maybe warn people.
Somebody asked me this week, hey, I've got some games I want to give away. Who do I give them to? So for game giveaways, give that stuff to Brian. He's what do you have, a spreadsheet? How do you keep track of this?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet.
How many?
Actually, I have a doc.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like,
how
many pages is your document?
I have a lot of keys. Oh, you know, like for mine?
No, like your Word document. Do you have a Word document with all the keys in there?
Yeah, for the ones that because I have a lot of, I have pages and pages of keys.
Interesting. So I was curious how many pages of keys you had.
I have like, I think I have like 17 pages of keys.
Of keys. Yeah, scroll through the document real quick on stream. Nisco's asking.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
That's good stuff.
I have a lot of keys, so
that's what we do.
I'm not gonna show the document on stream. All the stuff will be redeemed by the next week.
Well, I mean, hey, it'll save us some time at the end of the show, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, we gave our yearly game giveaway, so
100 game giveaway for Christmas. Yeah, just dump.
I could.
We should do that. Why don't we do that? We should do a couple like big game drives. Let's do that. We'll do like 20 games and just random. We won't tell anybody. We'll just dump them.
Yeah. So you
Brian, I'll
enter
just
for the
game
raffle.
dump. This was a segment I tried years ago and nobody wanted it.
We're gonna do it this year because I got some doozies I gotta get rid of.
All right, we look forward to it. All right, Brian, thank you for dealing with the technical issues today. I know we're running like 40 minutes late now, but I appreciate you dealing with the tech issues and being here for the show. So thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, my blog, biteoftech.com. Make sure you go to our website. On there, we have join our Steam group, which lets you get notifications right before the show starts. Maybe you'll be around for the holidays on a Tuesday when you normally wouldn't be. Sign up for that, and then you can come and join us live. We have all our different show notes for all the previous episodes. We have our RSS feeds for the different podcast forums, our YouTube, our Twitch, and make sure you join our Discord. That's the place where we primarily go and hang out and chat and communicate. And that's the best place to be where you can submit news and just whatever you want to do. We got our workout group, all kinds of stuff going on there, D&D, a lot of fun stuff. So make sure that's the place that you go if you want to come out and hang out with the group.
Yes. Yeah. Do that. Discord. Yeah. Discord is fun. We have a lot of fun in Discord. So join us for that. Overwatch, the winter update. I'm sorry. The winter update of Discord of Overwatch is our game of the week. Join us in Discord. Join Brian and the team. I will be. I'm going to be leaving around 8 o'clock. I'm driving overnight.
So you'll be driving at that
I'm driving overnight for my my trip home. So, but join the crew. Almost everybody in our Discord has got Overwatch. So, or a lot of people do. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout for that. And hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday. I don't know what. I have no idea how we're going to do the show next Tuesday remotely. A lot of things have changed. It'll be an experiment, that's for sure. So join us next Tuesday. We'll be back up in the New York Command studio, and I'll have my GTX 1070 there in the computer, so that'll be good. And
so you're having it shipped up there?
Yeah, I had it shipped up there because it wasn't going to come in time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So there you go. Join the alpha test this weekend for
We'll have a link in the show notes. I think we also have it in our Discord as well.
We do. It's under the announcements channel. So join us for that. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thanks for sticking with us here. If you joined us live, and if not, listening after the fact, thank you so much. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com, if you want to see all the notes that we didn't get to. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time.